Khép lại phiên thảo luận trong buổi sáng ngày hôm nay sẽ là phần trình bày của diễn giả ông Shashi Jagadiswaran, Phó Tổng Giám đốc của EY Việt Nam, với chủ đề dẫn dắt chuyển đổi công nghệ và kiến tạo sự đổi mới bền vững. Trân trọng kính mời ông.
Okay, good morning, everyone. And I'm aware I'm standing in between the morning session and your lunch. So I've been tasked to make this session as brief and as engaging as possible. I'll try to do that. And once again, I'd like to address our honorable guest, the ambassador from Singapore to Vietnam, Mr. Jayaratnam. I think he left. I think he just left the room. And Mr. Ver from PVN, Mr. Lim Boon Hang from Temasek, and everyone, all the participants, ladies and gentlemen. Okay. Sorry, the clicker is up. Okay, that happens especially when you share about technology. I would like to start my session by addressing the elephant in the room. And when I mention by elephant in the room, I would like to share 3 scenarios with you. Scenario number 1 is about the carbon footprint. Did you know that in order to produce 1 BEV, battery electric vehicle, will emit about 8.8 tons of carbon dioxide? Comparing to produce 1 unit of ICE, internal combustion engine vehicle, or a gasoline vehicle, which will emit about 5.6 tons of CO2. So what does that mean? It means that we would hope that for all the BEV vehicles that has been produced and will be produced, will be sold and be used to replace the gasoline vehicles and be driven at least for this particular model for 13,500 miles before we can offset the carbon dioxide that has been produced when manufacturing that vehicle. Okay, that's a mouthful. So the moral of the story is, if you own a battery electric vehicle, make sure you drive. Keep using it. All right. The second item is about water footprint. As you can see in the slide, in order to produce 1 kilogram of plant-based protein, it will require about 1,250 liters of water. Whereas to create 1 kilogram of animal-based protein, it will require about 15,000 liters of water. So 13 times more than a plant-based protein. So since we are just before lunch, so what are you going to have for lunch today? Maybe we should go vegetarian. Just kidding. Now, the third scenario I like to share, it's a bit tricky, but I think I should share in this forum, is about Earth, our resources. As we all know, that in order to produce the lithium-ion rechargeable battery, some of the minerals that is required is including nickel, cobalt, lithium, and a few others. Research have suggested that the total deposit of these rare minerals, as of till date, is not sufficient to support the demand of the amount of batteries that need to be produced in the future. Whereas when we look at the oil reserve globally right now, not including the future exploration, deep sea, and other source of producing crude, we can seriously see between the supply and demand, which is more favorable to us. Now, by sharing these three, you might be thinking the topic today is actually sustainability. Yes, you're right. I think Professor Shantanu was sharing earlier, the magic is to bring in the right mix of what we are doing now and what we are planning to do in the future. And of course, battery innovation is evolving. Hydrogen fuel cells is evolving. By the way, on an industry scale, the hydrogen produced for hydrogen fuel cell is done by a method called methane steaming. So you burn fuel to create gas. So that has to change, right? So we would like to call it, rather than sustainability, we coin it as a smart sustainability. Smart, not in the sense of smartwatch or your smart TV. Smart in the sense of specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. The kind of sustainability intervention that would require in Vietnam, the timeliness and the relevancy in Vietnam would or could be very different than what is required in Japan or Germany or other ASEAN countries. So when I engage with my clients, usually at the board of directors or management, we say that let's not talk about the pie in the sky and see that where we are right now and where we can go next. So speaking about smart sustainability, I'll skip this slide. So the next question we usually ask our client is, what is the difference between sustainability and ESG? Mr. Wu, I think you shared pretty in detail on your view on ESG. Sustainability is a goal. Like for an example, in Paris Agreement, there is a goal to achieve the pre-industrial era climate, I think less than 2%, right? While ESG, we would like to take it as a framework. So I just mentioned about smart sustainability, to be specific, to be able to measure it. So I think in that sense, ESG become handy. Sorry, I think I'm blocking the slide. So ESG will become handy. I will not go through what ESG is, but I will leave you in this slide with three things, which is scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. We often get questions along this area, what is scope 1, 2, and 3? But I would like to credit this to bbc.com. They keep it simple by sharing that scope 1 and scope 2 is about control, and scope 3 is about impact. While scope 1, we can call it as what you burn, your assets that is emitting CO2. Scope 2 is about what you buy, which your incoming value chain, and scope 3 is beyond. Basically, the outgoing and beyond and the impact of your value chain. So yes, ESG would have impact or imminent impact. It could be good impact, it could be not so good impact on your current supply chain. So, as what Mr. Lim Boon Hang shared earlier, we should start with why. So, why sustainability? And I know we're already almost close to lunch. So I would like to ask your favor to pull out your smartphone and go to this website, menti.com, and type in the code, as you could see on the screen, 17566566. Sorry, can we? Yeah, menti.com. The code is 17566566. Or if you have a powerful camera, you can QR code it. So you will see a list of boxes just to type in a free text. And you may also type in Vietnamese, feel free, of why sustainability is important for your organization. So we give another 10 seconds for people to access this site, and then we will change our screen. Okay, I'm not controlling the slides, okay, so please bear with me. So we have 43 people already joined the survey, and the word cloud is coming up. Some of the words here like future, continuity, fairness, customer demand, and I think there's one Vietnamese word, THI. I will get some even type 1653. Who type 1653? Okay, so generally when we do such a survey, more than 70% of the feedback we get are correct, because it is your definition of why sustainability is important for your organization. But we can club it into a few things. Number one, of course, the ecological impact. Number two is the efficiency and the profitability of your business. Number three is on your competitiveness. Maybe we are making a good profit right now, or growth right now, apologies. Can we continuously to make so with the possible disruption that's coming to our environment? And number four is the foundation of the organization, which is the people. Are we making sure our people is future ready? Yeah, so a combination of ecosystem, profitability, sustainability, workforce, technology, all that contribute into the bigger team, what we can address as sustainability. Right, thank you for the feedback. Now moving to the next slide. Okay, this is, okay. So we have addressed why sustainability is important, but what is the success rate of sustainability initiative across the board? Can you make a guess? Anyone? Professor? Low. That's a very qualitative answer. Thank you very much, Professor. How about from the other desk? Mr. Tien? Any guess? Okay, I think he already gave the tips. The qualitative answer is low. The quantitative answer is more than 70% of sustainability initiatives is challenged or failed. The question is why it is challenged or failed. Usually the answer I will tell to my team, internal team, is if everybody can do the sustainability initiative themselves, then where should I go? Okay, I'll run out of business. Yeah, well, there are factors that driving to the challenges. Based on our survey and our findings, we find that more than 94% of the top executives says that the sustainability initiative, especially on the innovation, did not meet up to their expectation. Yeah, so moving on from this, let's go back to your smartphone, to the survey. Based on your perception, okay, this is for you. we have put together 10 factors that could be possible inhibitors. That means 10 reasons that could make it a challenge for your sustainability initiative. So if you could help me to join to the survey page again and rank it, apologies, rank it from 1 to 5. On the left is, on my left is strongly disagree, and on my right is to strongly agree. Some of these factors may not be relevant, so you can leave it as it is. Okay, can we go to the result page, please? We are almost there. Okay, understand. Okay, we have 34 participants right now, live and voting. Okay, let's see how the result comes out. Funding. So currently, okay, now I see a common trend. So keep your vote coming because every vote counts. Okay, so it's an open poll over here. Now, we have done this exercise a number of times, either with our clients, with the board of directors, or the group and their subsidiary, or in another forum. And I'd like to share that more than often, or even I could see in this discussion right now, lack of transformation strategy and clear business case usually comes as the first factor. Sustainability initiatives is best done top down. Yeah. So, and then comes about technology, where the CTO or the CIO will be called into the boardroom, and then the funding and so on and so forth. But the number one, the strategy and the clear business case will have a dependency to the funding. If the chairman or CEO want to allocate a budget for a sustainability initiative, obviously he or she would need a strong business case to allocate the budget in order to execute the initiatives. Thank you for the feedback. Now we move to the next slide. So I will share a simple case study that we have done, but this is for the FMCG sector, fast manufacturing consumable goods, whereby we sit with the board, and in order to give the clarity and the strategic view and to develop a business case, we put together a matrix. Yeah. So I will not go through in detail, but basically this matrix will have 8 areas that we will discuss with the leaders. Starting from group influence. Some organization, the group or the parent company will have a strong influence to their subsidiaries, while some companies are not. It is good to understand before we start to come with a campaign and say, let's go for zero emission by this year, by X year, and so on. So this is to attest to see from the group influence, the ambition, and all the way down. Yeah, and we have a list. Okay, I'm not doing a sales talk here, just sharing, but we have a list of matrices and benchmarks that we will use to rank and tell whether the particular organization or the group, this is a group with 4 subsidiaries, where do they stand? And based on that, we will share and socialize with the leadership. Either are they just aiming for being compliant? Okay, some one size fit all kind of measurement across the group and the subsidiaries, and that's about it. or all the way they become like an activist. Yeah, I find that I focus on oil and gas, manufacturing and consumer products. I don't know if it's coincident or maybe it's just my view. The oil and gas companies, the manufacturing companies, and the consumer product companies taking it very seriously, even in the context of Vietnam. Okay, now let's move on to see that one of the, I would like to pick up one sector, not just because I focused on it, but even based on the studies, the sector that produced the highest carbon emission, which is the energy sector, if I'm not mistaken, 73%. And oil and gas companies and energy companies are constantly discussing about energy transition. I think we heard some of the points that were shared by our distinguished guest earlier. Now, based on your view, where do you think the investments are going? Or we say follow the money, okay? So we have listed 6 areas. Based on your view, where do you think most of the energy transition investment are going? Yeah, okay. So let's go to the result page. The Menti result, yeah. Not, okay, so for those who are sitting a bit far away, apologies. What we are seeing here is that that almost 36, the largest share go to renewable energy, which is solar, onshore, offshore, wind, hydro, and so on, and then followed by EV, then hydrogen, and so on and so forth. I don't know that if the answer got leaked or not, but you guys are almost right. We find that the investment that goes into energy transition has outpaced even the GDP of countries. We are looking at the year-on-year growth of investment is approximately 13.1%. Yeah, if you can go back to the slide, please. And one of the areas that goes on is, of course, for solar, wind, and energy sources. The second area is on the transportation. Okay, the numbers will come up, but to what I remember, over $240 billion has been invested over the last short period of time into these sectors. And even in Vietnam, we see that the growth of Vietnam automobile manufacturing is advancing since 2018, where the manufacturer has moved from ICE to BEV and launching it in the US. Okay, so another fun fact for you to consider that between 2010 to 2020, do you know how much of global investment on renewable energy sources? $2.6 trillion US dollars, T with the T. And guess how much was the impact on the renewable energy sources? That means they were using fossil fuel and now they moved to a renewable energy. Pre-2010, this is based on research, 16% was on these new renewable energy sources. Of course, there's a combination of hydropower and fossil fuel. And after invested 2.6 trillion over the 10 years, the number has moved from 16% to 26%, which means that globally, we're able to save, how would I say, we're able to curb 2 billion tons of CO2 emission in a period of 10 years. So $2.6 trillion for 2 billion tons of CO2. That will give you $2,600 per ton CO2. Okay, so that is just a fun fact. Okay, we are moving to the second session of the presentation because I recall, I don't want to go through very detail, that the previous speaker spoke about digitization, digitalization, digital transformation, using technology, basically to enable your organization to come up with sustainable innovation. Okay, and I would like to start by debunking the myth between digitalization and digital transformation, hopefully in 2 minutes. Is that okay? Do we have a deal? Okay. Now, I use an analogy of a watch, as I believe most of us are wearing one. In the initial part, things are done manually. Oh, by the way, spreadsheet is still considered manual at current state. So if the data is exchanged across organization using Excel, spreadsheet, and it's attached to an email and sent across, it's still considered manual. Now, as the organization grow, they go to digitization or electronic. A paper form become e-form, e-leaf form. So we just throw in an E and make it electronic. Or we can say a computerization. Now we have a software to do the work that we use the hard copy or Excel sheet, which is good, which is efficient. You can store it securely, you can share it, but still I find that, or we find that it is disconnected. As a leadership of a large organization, having disparated software, or we call a disparated application landscape, may not do as much as what you expect. So now we progress into the next stage where things become a bit more interesting. Now we go into the digitalization. Okay, so from an electronic watch, now I've upgraded myself to a smart watch. Okay, when we say a smart water management, smart waste management, smart grid, you get the point. That means we have come to the digitalization stage. So what makes digitalization is useful? Oh, sorry, first, what does digitalization do in the first place? Now let's take our smartwatch as an example, so everyone can, I think, can reflect on it. Let's say I'm sitting down and doing my work while I'm wearing my smartwatch. And suddenly my smartwatch detects my heart rate goes high. Okay, a smartwatch will show me that my heart rate now is probably 130 beats per minute. A smarter watch will tell me, hey, your heart rate has jumped up, you're probably having a heart attack, call the doctor or call an ambulance. But the smartest watch will wait for my response for 10 seconds, and if I did not do it, it will call for ambulance and ask them to come for rescue. Now, me as a user of this smartwatch, what kind of experience will I have by having this digitalization capability with me? Similarly, for your business, if you have the relevant touch points at your business processes, whether it's upstream, midstream, downstream, or during your supply chain, this will give you a useful information that you can take action on. Just giving you a dashboard may not be as useful than giving you a dashboard and suggesting you the action that you can take on. And lastly, I would like to address the digital transformation. Digital transformation, I would like to say, due to short of time, to be read as transformation using digital means. Not taking digital and transform it. Okay, so that will require a few elements like strategy, people, customer experience, business process, and technology and security. So I will skip the survey due to time constraint. So from the research and the study and the survey and our experience, we find that of all the digitalization technology out there, the top 3 investment goes to cloud computing, Internet of Things, and AI. Of course, AI is taking the world by storm right now. I would like to share very quickly on one of the case study, the work we have done together with the largest national oil company of Vietnam, whereby we work together with them to develop a 3-year strategy of a 3 years of digital transformation strategy, which is supported by 4 strategic thrusts, that is technology and security, data and automation, business digitalization, and workforce uplift. Yeah, and as you could see on the screen, there were internal drivers where the client would like to become a pioneer in leapfrogging the digital transformation. They also has a need to optimize their processes. Whereas there were external drivers. Number 1 is to the net zero carbon emission goals, energy transition trends, and also the Vietnam Digital 2025. And the next case study is about the work that we have done and still doing. Going on to the next phase is for a smart industrial park developer. This is a JV between Vietnam and Singapore, whereby we worked with them in identifying all the smart intervention that they could do to make it as a sustainable and smart industrial park. 7 areas, 7+1. One is energy, waste management, water, traffic, and all the way down, and supported by IT infrastructure. Sorry, I'm going fast because I just got a timeout warning. All right, and lastly, I'd like to share, we are also proud to partner with the global investment company headquarters in Singapore. It's a government sovereign investment company, whereby our team in Singapore have been working with them to come up with the strategy roadmap for the philanthropical investment plan, as well as develop a framework to assess the impact and outcomes. I will skip this. I would like to conclude my presentation today, and apologies, I took about 10 minutes extra by this quote. The world has enough for everyone's need, but not for everyone's greed. This is a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. Thank you very much. Thank you for your patience.
Thank you, Mr. Shashi Jagadiswaran, Phó Tổng Giám đốc của EY Việt Nam. Và